Have you ever wondered about the strange creatures that live in the deepest parts of the ocean? They're fascinating, mysterious, and sometimes downright creepy. Lately, it seems like we're hearing more and more about them. But why? Take the sea devil, for example. This scary-looking fish has a glowing torch on its head, which it uses like a fishing lure to trick prey into swimming right into its mouth. Crazy, right? Then there's the oarfish, a creature that's straight out of legend. In Japan, there's an old belief that if an oarfish shows up near the surface, it's a warning of disaster. And get this, during World War II, Navy sonar operators once thought they were seeing a false seafloor. Turns out, it was actually millions of fish swimming up from the deep. Can you imagine how mind-blowing that must have been? Now let's talk about something that happened just recently. In January 2023, a fisherman in Japan was out doing his usual thing, casting his net into the sea. But when he pulled it back, he found something unbelievable. A weird, snake-like fish that was almost 6 meters long. It was slimy, rubbery, and pale white. Nothing like the fish he usually caught. This wasn't your everyday sea creature. It was a deep-sea oarfish, a rare and mysterious visitor from the ocean's darkest depths. Usually, oarfish are found deep in the ocean, around 1 kilometer below the surface. The fisherman decided to release it back into the sea. Why? Because again, according to Japanese legends, spotting an oarfish is considered a sign of disaster, especially earthquakes. For example, in 2011, just before the devastating earthquake that hit Japan, about 20 dead oarfish washed up on the coast. But here's the thing. These stories are now being questioned. Why? Because in recent years, oarfish haven't just been spotted in Japan. Dead oarfish have been washing up on shores all over the world. In 2023, a fisherman caught 50 oarfish in one go. In 2024, oarfish were spotted 3 times off the coast of California. And in February 2025, a live oarfish was seen in Mexico. People were shocked. Seeing an oarfish used to be incredibly rare. In fact, it wasn't until 2001 that a live oarfish was even filmed for the first time. And it's not just oarfish. Many other deep-sea creatures are suddenly showing up near the surface. Take the giant phantom jellyfish, for example. This amazing creature has ribbon-like tentacles that can stretch longer than 10 meters. They're usually found 1 to 2 kilometers deep in the ocean. But in Antarctica, they were spotted at a depth of just 80 meters. Then there's the smooth lump fish, which Russian fishermen once caught and thought might be an alien because of its brain-like appearance. And let's not forget the black sea devil anglerfish, a terrifying deep-sea fish that was spotted near the surface, about 2,000 meters off the Spanish coast. These are creatures that almost never come up from the depths. So why are they appearing now? This raises a big question. What's going on? For thousands of years, humans didn't even know these deep-sea creatures existed. So why are they suddenly showing up at the surface? In this video, let's dive deep and try to understand what's happening. Did you know that about 71% of the Earth's surface is covered with water? In fact, 97% of the Earth's water is found in the 5 main oceans: the Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Arctic Ocean, and the Southern Ocean. These oceans are home to 94% of the world's wildlife. Humans have only explored and mapped 5% of the oceans. That means 95% of the ocean, especially the deep sea, remains a complete mystery. Surprisingly, we actually have better maps of Mars than we do of our own ocean floor. Think about that for a second. Only 12 astronauts have spent a total of 300 hours on the moon, but just 3 people have made it to the deepest point of the ocean, the Challenger Deep, and they were only there for 3 hours. When you're standing on a beach in Goa looking out at the sparkling blue water, you're only seeing the topmost layer of the ocean. This is called the sunlight zone, the part of the ocean where sunlight can reach. It's here that you'll find the most colorful and diverse marine life. This is also the only layer where photosynthesis can happen, which is why you'll find macroalgae and phytoplankton here. These tiny organisms are the foundation of the entire oceanic food chain. Plus, this zone is where most of the things we typically associate with the ocean, like coral reefs, fish, and seaweed, are found. When you think of the ocean, you probably picture whales, sharks, turtles, and dolphins, creatures that live in the sunlight zone where most of the action happens. But as we go deeper, things start to change. The water absorbs sunlight, and it gets darker and darker. At just 10 meters deep, only 16% of sunlight remains. By 100 meters, that drops to a mere 1%. And if we go even deeper, beyond 1,000 meters, sunlight can't reach at all. This is why it's so difficult for humans to explore these depths. It's pitch black down there. But let's take a step back. After the sunlight zone, at around 200 meters deep, we enter the twilight zone. Here, things get really interesting. Sunlight is made up of a spectrum of colors, with red having the longest wavelength and blue and violet the shortest. As sunlight travels through water, the longer wavelengths, like red and orange, are absorbed first. By the time light reaches the twilight zone, only blue and violet remain. And this is where we start to see some truly bizarre creatures. Take the strawberry squid, for example. This squid gets its name because, well, it looks like a strawberry. But what's even stranger is that one of its eyes is much larger than the other. The bigger eye points upward, helping it spot shadows and light from above, while the smaller eye points downward, looking for bioluminescent glows in the darkness. Here's a fun fact. When we see the strawberry squid in shallow water, it looks red because all the colors of sunlight are present. But in its natural habitat, the twilight zone, it appears almost black. Why? Because red light doesn't reach that deep, so its red color acts as the perfect camouflage. If you venture a bit deeper into the twilight zone, you might encounter the bloody bellycomb jelly. This creature is a striking fluorescent red, but here's the twist. Most deep-sea creatures can't even see the color red. So, for them, the bloody bellycomb jelly is practically invisible. And when it moves, colorful lights flicker along its body, creating a mesmerizing display. It looks like 8 rows of rainbows moving through the water. Now you might be wondering, since sunlight can't reach these depths, how do these lights flicker? The answer lies in a fascinating process called bioluminescence. Through bioluminescence, living creatures can produce their own light. This happens because of 2 special chemicals, luciferin and luciferase. When these 2 chemicals mix, they create a chemical reaction that emits light instead of heat. Deep-sea creatures use this light in clever ways, to hide from predators, attract prey, or even communicate with each other. Take the sea angel, for example. This beautiful creature looks like a tiny water fairy. It's smaller than a human finger, and in the dark, its empty stomach glows. But don't let its delicate appearance fool you. This sea angel can turn into a devil in seconds. Its quick tentacles form a trap that's nearly impossible to escape. Once the prey is caught and reaches its stomach, the glow stops. Talk about a dramatic dinner. At depths of 600 to 800 meters, you'll find the barely fish, another fascinating creature. Its head is completely transparent, almost like a dome. At first glance, you might think its eyes are the black dots above its nose, but those are actually its nostrils. The real eyes are the green bulbs inside its transparent head. Here's the kicker. These eyes can only look upward. So how does it track its food? Scientists believe it can rotate its eyes inside its head, almost like a periscope. It's like a living submarine with alien-like technology. If you dive even deeper, you'll encounter the giant squid, a truly terrifying creature. These squids can grow up to 13 meters long, about the height of a two-story house. Their eyes are the size of basketballs, with a diameter of 25 to 30 centimeters, making them the largest eyes of any living creature on Earth. These massive eyes are perfectly adapted to spot prey in the dark, murky waters. Now let's go even deeper. After crossing 1,000 meters, the twilight zone ends, and we enter the midnight zone. Here, sunlight doesn't reach at all. The creatures that live here often move between the twilight zone and the midnight zone. One of the most famous residents is the anglerfish, including the Black Sea Devil. You might remember the anglerfish from the movie Finding Nemo. In the film, it was depicted with a fishing pole-like appendage on its head, complete with a glowing bulb. In real life, anglerfish use this glowing lure to attract prey in the dark waters. It's both creepy and brilliant. But here's something the movie Finding Nemo didn't show, and it's one of the weirdest facts about anglerfish: their reproduction strategy. Male anglerfish are 1/10 the size of females, and their sole purpose in life is to reproduce. When a male finds a female, he latches onto her and literally becomes one with her body. Over time, their tissues and blood vessels fuse together, and the male essentially becomes an organ of the female's body. And it gets even stranger. Females often collect multiple males. About 6 to 8 can be found attached to a single female. This bizarre strategy ensures that the female always has a mate ready when it's time to reproduce. It's a far cry from life on land, isn't it? Speaking of strange creatures, let's talk about the vampire squid. This fascinating animal is the last remaining species of its order. All its relatives went extinct 200 million years ago, leaving behind only fossils. The vampire squid gets its name from its unique appearance. Its 8 legs are connected by a cloak-like webbing, which, when stretched out, looks like a vampire's cape. For years, scientists assumed the vampire squid was a fierce predator. But the truth? It's not a bloodsucker at all. In fact, it mostly eats marine snow, a mix of dead plankton, poop, and other organic matter that drifts down from the surface. So, while its name sounds cool, it doesn't quite match its behavior. Now let's dive even deeper. At depths of 2,000 to 3,000 meters, we find a creature that's essentially a farmer. Meet the Yeti crab. Yes, this Yeti actually exists. It gets its nickname from the hairy, fur-like arms that remind people of the mythical Yeti. This deep-sea Yeti crab, however, is blind. The fur on its arms isn't hair at all. It's actually bacterial colonies. The crab farms these bacteria on its arms and then eats them. Specifically, it's sulfide oxidizing bacteria, which thrive near hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor. These vents release heat and chemicals, creating a unique ecosystem where life thrives in the most unexpected ways. If we go even deeper, around 4,000 meters, the midnight zone ends, and we enter the abyssal zone. The creatures that live here are unlike anything found anywhere else on Earth. For example, the wreck of the Titanic lies in this zone, at a depth of about 3,810 meters. Some fascinating creatures have been discovered in this zone, like the Dumbo octopus. It gets its name from the big, ear-like fins on its head, which resemble Disney's flying elephant, Dumbo. Unlike many other deep-sea creatures, the Dumbo octopus doesn't migrate to shallower waters. Instead, it spends its entire life in the deep sea. With its graceful, slow movements, it's often described as a deep-sea ballerina. And it might just be the cutest creature in the abyss. Most of the seafloor lies at a depth of around 6,000 meters, but in some places, the ocean goes even deeper. These areas, from 6,000 meters to 11,000 meters, are called the Hadal Zone. This is the deepest part of the ocean and is still shrouded in mystery. We could spend hours talking about the Hadal Zone, but let's save that for another video. For now, let's stick to the main question. Why are these deep-sea creatures coming up to the surface? During World War II, Navy sonar operators made an intriguing discovery. At night, they noticed that the seafloor seemed to rise by hundreds of meters. But here's the twist. The seafloor wasn't actually moving. Instead, it was a massive number of fish, squid, and plankton swimming upward in what's now known as the deep scattering layer. This phenomenon was the first clue to the ocean's hidden highways, used by millions of marine creatures every day. The deep scattering layer is a part of the ocean that reflects sound waves because of the high density of marine life. Scientists have since discovered that every day, millions, even billions of creatures, from tiny zooplankton to medium-sized fish, make this journey. They swim up to the surface at night and return to the depths during the day. It's like a daily migration, but in the ocean. This daily migration is said to be the largest migration on Earth. And the most surprising part? It's been happening for centuries, completely hidden from human eyes. Imagine this. Billions of animals, with a total mass 25 times greater than all of humanity, swimming up and down the ocean every single day. This incredible journey is called the DL vertical migration, DVM. Here's how it works. During the day, most of these creatures stay at depths of around 400 meters. But as soon as the sun sets, they swim up to the surface. You can see this pattern in the graph. The yellow part represents the migration, moving up at night and back down during the day. And this isn't just happening in one part of the ocean. It's a global phenomenon. So, why do these creatures go through such a challenging journey every night? The answer is simple: to eat without being eaten. In other words, they're looking for food while avoiding predators. Since photosynthesis only happens at the surface, that's where phytoplankton, the base of the ocean's food chain, are found. Small fish and zooplankton feed on this phytoplankton, but they can't do it during the day because they'd be easy targets for predators like sharks, whales, and dolphins. That's why they wait until nightfall to swim up, feed in the dark, and then disappear back into the depths before sunrise. But here's the problem. This ancient rhythm is changing. Over the past few years, climate change has disrupted this daily migration. Instead of moving up and down every day, many of these creatures are now migrating permanently toward colder regions, like the poles. You might already know that the oceans absorb 90% of the heat generated by global warming. As the Earth gets warmer, the oceans are heating up too. Temperatures that remained stable for hundreds of thousands of years are now rising. The surface water is warming up, but the deep sea remains cold. This creates a stark contrast between the two layers, forcing marine life to adapt in ways we're only beginning to understand. The deep sea, however, remains at the same temperature as before. Why? Because the sun's heat can't reach that far down. Warm water is lighter and less dense than cold water, which is why it stays near the surface while the cold water sinks to the bottom. These two layers of water don't mix easily, creating a barrier. As a result, the oxygen from the surface water can't reach the cold, deep waters below. This has led to a shortage of oxygen in the deep sea. Even a slight drop in oxygen levels can cause a large-scale decline in the population of deep-sea creatures. For animals that have evolved in stable, oxygen-rich environments, this is a serious threat. In their search for oxygen, many of these creatures are now migrating toward the surface. But this migration comes with huge risks. These deep-sea creatures haven't evolved to survive in surface waters. During the day, they're easy targets for predators like sharks and whales. Scientists predict that by the end of this century, the temperature of the abyssal zone could increase by 1 degree Celsius. And deep-sea creatures are expected to migrate 4 to 11 times faster than those living near the surface. The future of these incredible creatures is now in serious danger. Many of them could face extinction. And the shocking part is, we haven't even discovered all of them yet. Every year, new species are found in the deep sea. Some of these creatures could disappear forever because of human activity, and we might not even know they existed. But it's not just about the deep sea creatures. Our lives are deeply connected to the ocean. The health of the deep sea affects the entire marine ecosystem, which in turn impacts everything from the food we eat to the air we breathe. If we lose these mysterious, awe-inspiring creatures, we lose a part of our planet's biodiversity and a part of ourselves. The deep sea plays a crucial role in regulating our planet's climate. It stores huge amounts of carbon, acting as a natural carbon sink. Phytoplankton, for example, work like underwater trees. They absorb carbon dioxide and, when they die, sink to the ocean floor, locking that carbon away in the deep sea. This process helps balance the amount of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. But here's the problem. Climate change is disrupting this delicate system. As the oceans warm and oxygen levels drop, their ability to absorb and store carbon dioxide is decreasing. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more awesome videos.